Thorough. Wait, let me just make sure. All right, we're recording.
Awesome. Hey everyone, welcome to this video podcast or video cast. We are really excited. My name is we do a quick introduction before we jump into the actual topic we're going to discuss today. Very quickly, my name is Nisar Ahmed. I am the managing editor of the career blog called careermetis.com. I also host and run the Career Metis podcast. And me and Eric, who will be introducing himself very quickly, decided to do a video series where you'll be hearing different career topics, resume topics, job search topics to help you take your career to the next level. So, hey, Eric, very quickly, just maybe you could tell the viewers who you are, a very quick introduction.
Sure. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Eric.B.Horn, and I'm the founder of Eric.B.Horn Incorporated, which is a career management and professional development firm for college graduates to mid-level professionals. And I'm very excited to start this video blog series. Nasir and I met maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, and we hit it off instantly when it comes to the overall passion and determination to managing your career. So I'm definitely excited to be here and I'm ready to get started.
Yeah, Eric, and you mentioned, we both do similar things, right? We help others, you with your business, me with the blog, help others with their career management. I'm sure, and that's like a wide ocean. We can talk about a lot of things.
Exactly.
I think the first thing it's important is I wanted to ask your input, but also wanted to share my input is why should people care about their careers? Why should they take their career management seriously? So that's a great topic to start. I think the why is important. So I'll let you go first, then I'll add my input, then we can continue the chat about the why your career management is important.
Sure. The why in anything that you do is the driving force. For example, for me, my why when it comes to my business and my career is my family. Long story short, I want to make sure that my family is well taken care of and they want for nothing. Even though, my wife works also, she's very determined, but the why keeps me going. Even on my phone, I have a picture of my daughter. So when things get kind of crazy in my business, i.e. my career, I take a minute, level set, look at her picture to say, this is who I'm doing it for. And that's like a shot of adrenaline. Even if I'm down and out, I'm ready to keep going because, my why is it's not about me. It's about my family. And at the end of the day, I'll do any and everything for my family to sustain my family. So I tie all that into if individuals that do not have a family, your why, whether it be you want to make a lot of money, you want to be on Forbes magazine, you want to be successful, whatever it is, you definitely need to determine what that why is because that why will help push you through the not so good times. So what about yourself?
Yeah, that's actually a great input you just shared here, right? Because the why you're doing something, no matter what you do, if you're working, I don't know, it doesn't matter, as a doctor in construction, you could be an entrepreneur. Why you're doing something is really important because it really keeps you going as well. So one of the things that I say, why looking at your career and taking it seriously is important. I give it the insurance analogy. I like to use the insurance, right?
Yeah.
Nobody likes to buy insurance, but when we need it, we need it, right? It's one of those things. But if you look, a day doesn't go by where you listen about companies laying off people, downsizing, companies merging. Just this week, SoundCloud, which most people listen to music or even listen to podcasts, is laying off 40% of the staff. So a lot of the people, what they do, a lot of people people I speak to, they say they only think about their career or their job if something bad happens. When they are out of school for the first time, you work, Eric, with a lot of college graduates. that's when they think about it, because they are becoming adults, they're entering the workforce.
Right.
After that, they forget. And a lot of people, maybe a few years later, when they get laid off, where they're in a position to find a new job, that's when they think. What I am saying, and I think you also saying the same thing, is it's important that you always be proactive. Don't leave this to a situation where something bad happens and then you go back, oh my God, I got to
Right.
create a profile on LinkedIn, I got to create a resume, I need to find a coach. Should always be thinking about this.
Of course. And one of the that number, 40% of the staff is being laid off. That's it's crazy, because my thing would be, and I'm pretty sure the decision was made by the CEO or the senior management team, but it never ceases to amaze me how one decision
Mm-hmm.
from a high level executive can affect so many lives. And not only the lives of those 40 people, but then also their families, because they may not know 100% the that salary that they receive. They don't know how many families that's really taken care of. But
Mm-hmm.
it's corporate America, and corporate America, that does happen. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. When it comes
Mm-hmm.
to corporate America, massive layoffs happen that you cannot control.
Yeah.
However, what you can control, and we'll talk about this in later episodes, is how you equip yourself with more knowledge and also stay ahead of the career management curve. And you are, whether getting certifications or advanced degrees or
Mm-hmm.
doing your own business, those are things that you can control, because hopefully you're not spending like I used to spend at my first job, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day. You can take some of the time. They say you have a 9 to 5, which is okay, but it should fuel your 5 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're doing, whether it's your business or you're learning a new uh, software or empowering yourself to do more than what your job is requiring you to do, because
Mm-hmm.
that's when the magic will happen, so to speak, because you're taking back control of your career. So in any event that you do, if you are one of the individuals at SoundCloud that's been laid off, you can have all your ducks in a row, meaning just at a top level. You can have your resume together. You can have a very strong network of individuals, so you can bounce back as quickly as possible, as opposed to not having any of that
Mm-hmm.
and going through the emotions of losing the job, because there are a lot of emotions that come with a job loss, definitely.
Another thing I wanted to add to that, Eric, is I think you hit the nail on the head. You used the word control, right? And you also said 9 to 5. So most people, if they work 40 hours, maybe they commute. So people are spending 40 to 50 hours if you take into control everything else. Like, if you take into account their commute, the time to get to work, and all that. So if you're spending 50 hours a week and you're not controlling, at least if you don't if you don't put a level of control to your career, someone else will take care of your career, and then things like this happen. And these things will happen. Like SoundCloud is one example. Microsoft just confirmed that they will be laying off 55,000 people globally. So this
Wow.
you will hear this every day. And if you're one of those, and trust me, it'll happen to you, it'll happen to me, it has happened to anyone listening. That's why it's important to always be proactive with your career. The control, if I can say, based on what we have discussed, 2 words: proactive and control. Like, control your career, be proactive, don't wait for something to happen. And in that case, you always will come ahead.
Definitely. And just to piggyback off of what you said about even the commute to work, on the average, well, in Chicago, the average to getting from your place, it can be from an hour to maybe even 2.5 hours. However, let's just stick with the time frame of an hour. So if it takes you an hour to go to work and an hour to go back to work, that's 2 hours a day
Yeah.
where you can empower yourself by listening to podcasts, listening to audio programs, instead of just, yelling at the people to the left and the right of you who are stuck in traffic. So if you do the math, 2 hours a day for 5 days, that's 10 hours a week. That's 40 hours in a month where you can learn and empower yourself just by commuting to and from work. That should be an eye opener for a lot of people, because the smoke screen is when it comes to people who want to take more control with their career. The biggest pitfall that they say is, I don't have the time. We just did the math right then and there, just going to and from work. So you're
Mhm.
spending an entire work week within a month just learning, and you can, nowadays, you have, like I said, books, anything, everything that you would want to learn, you can listen to, So one key thing that people can do right now, if
Mhm.
when you are commuting to work, whether you're driving or you're on the bus, listen to a audio program, listen to an audio book, just get into the habit of learning, because your mind will start to run like a well-oiled machine based
Yeah.
off of what you're listening to. So the excuse when people say they don't have time, it I don't even say if it's an excuse. Maybe they just don't know that. Like, I'm a big fan of Darren Hardy, and when
Mhm.
it comes to the compound effect, when you take 2 hours and then you add that to 10 hours a week, that starts to build up, and then you'll start to realize that precious hour that you are losing because you are stuck in traffic can be used to empower yourself and put you back in the driver's seat when it comes to your career.
What you just said is exciting because that's exactly what we would like to cover in our next video. We spoke about the why it is important, how you can fuel your why with all the reasons. What are some of the specific things? So you sort of give them a trailer or a preview of what we're going to talk about in the next video, where what are some of the things you do, you've identified, hopefully by listening to this. There people are inspired, or it puts a fire under their butt that they want to do something. And now in the next video, we'll talk about what are some of the things. Eric just mentioned one example. We'll talk about much more in the next video.